Matthew looked up two different recipes for marinara sauce. The first requires 3 and 1/4 pints of tomato sauce. The second recipe requires 2 and 1/3 quarts of tomato sauce. How many more cups of tomato did the second recipe require than the first recipe? So our goal is how many more cups did the second recipe have, with our key numbers being 3 and 1/4 pints, which was our first recipe, and 2 and 1/3 quarts, which was our second recipe. So this is once again going to be another unit conversion problem. So let's first convert our second recipe because we know that is going to be more. So I know 1 quart equals 2 pints. So let's me go and put my 2 and 1/3 quarts. So I know 1 times 2 and 1/3 will get me to 2 and 1/3. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So 2 and 1/3 times 2 will give us 4 and 2/3 pints. Because 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 times 1/3 is 2/3. So now we need to convert our pints into cups. So 1 pint equals 2 cups. So we have 4 and 2/3 pints. So I know 1 times 4 and 2/3 equals 4 and 2/3. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So 4 and 2/3 times 2, well, that's going to be 8 and 4/3, because 2 times 4 is 8, and then 2/3 times 2 is 4/3, but that is the same as 9 and 1/3. So now we know our second recipe is 9 and 1/3 cups. So now let's convert our first recipe, which was 3 and 1/4 pints. So we're going to use our same ratio table right here. 1 pint equals 2 cups. This time we have 3 and 1/4 pints. And I know 1 times 3 and 1/4 equals 3 and 1/4. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So 2 times 3 and 1/4 is going to be 6 and 2/4, because 2 times 3 is 6, and 1/4 times 2 is 2/4. But that's the same as 6 and 1/2 cups. So now we know our two recipes in cups. We have 9 and 1/3 cups and 6 and 1/2 cups. And to find the difference, or to find out how much more the second recipe is, we now have to subtract our two differences. Well, I see 1/2 and I see halves. We need to get common denominators in order to subtract. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 2. And that's going to give me 2, 6. And I'm going to top 1/2 top and bottom by 3. And that's going to give me 3, 6 cups. And now we're almost there. So because 2, 6 is greater than 3, 6, I am going to borrow 1 whole from 9 and add it to my 2, 6. So I'm going to turn this 9 into an 8 and add 1 whole to this 2, 6. But this time I have to be careful because 1 whole is the same as 6 over 6. So I'm going to add 6 over 6 to 2, 6, which is going to be 8 over 6 cups minus 6 and 3, 6 cups. So 8, 6 minus 3, 6 is 5, 6. And 8 minus 6 equals 2, making our answer 2 and 5, 6 cups.